crybaby experience. Have you ever heard of the name Jeffrey Epstein? Have you ever heard of this man? How powerful this man was? How politically connected this man was? The influence he had? The horrible things that he was accused of doing and have said to have done? But look here, man. This is the experience. That's what I'm here to deliver y'all. So once again, we finna learn something. This is Jeffrey Epstein. What he's been accused of. Maybe some things that y'all might not know that's going on. Circling around about the little black book. Without further ado, y'all know what I do. Let's get to it.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
In recent years, the name Jeffrey Epstein has become synonymous with scandal, corruption, and unspeakable crimes.
What was the crime of which you were convicted?
Soliciting prostitution and procuring a minor for prostitution.
With the recent developments in his case, there is a renewed interest in unraveling the dark secrets surrounding this enigmatic figure and, more importantly, shedding light on the fate of his victims. But what happened to Epstein's victims?
It was a wicked time in my life. It was a really scary time in my life.
Who were these young women, and how did they find themselves entangled in his web of abuse? In this video, I will tell you what happened to Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Virginia Giuffre. Born as Virginia Louise Roberts, she faced a troubled home life marked by abuse and instability. At a young age, she found herself running away from home, seeking refuge on the unforgiving streets. Hunger and further abuse became her constant companions. But fate had a different plan for Virginia. At the age of 14, she reunited with her father and began working at Mar-a-Lago, a luxurious resort owned by none other than Donald Trump. It was during her time there that she would cross paths with a man who would change her life forever, Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein took a keen interest in Virginia. He saw in her vulnerability an opportunity for exploitation. Under the guise of providing her with a better life, Epstein lured her into his web of manipulation and control. Virginia's introduction to Epstein opened the doors to a world of unimaginable wealth and power. She became closely associated with him and his associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, between 2000 and 2002. Virginia found herself shuttling between Epstein's opulent residences in Palm Beach and Manhattan, as well as his sprawling ranch in New Mexico and his notorious private island. During this time, Virginia experienced the unimaginable. She was trafficked to Epstein's powerful associates, including politicians, businessmen, and even royalty. The private jets and lavish lifestyles masked the dark reality of her existence as a pawn in Epstein's sick game. In 2002, Virginia made the courageous decision to break free from Epstein and Maxwell's grip. She moved to Australia with her husband, hoping to leave her traumatic past behind. However, the scars of her experiences remained, and she knew she had to fight for justice. The battle came in 2015 when she sued Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime associate, for defamation. She alleged that Maxwell had made derogatory comments about her, further adding to the trauma she had endured. The case was settled under seal in 2017, but it marked the beginning of Giuffre's relentless pursuit of justice. In 2019, Giuffre filed a defamation lawsuit against prominent lawyer Alan Dershowitz, who had been a member of Epstein's legal team. She accused him of making false statements to discredit her and protect Epstein. However, the case was dismissed in 2022, leaving Giuffre disappointed but undeterred. One of the most high-profile lawsuits Giuffre pursued was against Prince Andrew. In 2021, she filed a civil lawsuit, seeking justice for the abuse she endured as a minor. The case was allowed to proceed in 2022, but before it could go to trial, it was settled out of court in February 2022. The terms of the settlement remain confidential.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all are paying attention to what's going on out here, man, and the politics and everything. I ain't gonna get into all of that specifics of it, but I just want to bring a little light to this. Like, this just happened. Like, you know, I know we just hit 2024, but this was 2022 when this just got settled. So this is relatively fresh. It's not like no 90s events that took place. No, this man was getting active, ladies and gentlemen. He was getting really, really active.
Throughout her legal battles, Giuffre's allegations received significant media attention. She appeared in interviews and documentaries, bravely sharing her experiences of being trafficked by Epstein and his associates. Her courage inspired others to come forward with their own stories, shedding light on the extent of Epstein's abuse and the powerful individuals involved. Giuffre's advocacy work extended beyond the courtroom. She founded non-profit organizations such as Victims Refuse, Silence and Speak Out, Act, Reclaim, dedicated to supporting survivors of sex trafficking and raising awareness about the issue. Her relentless efforts have played a crucial role in bringing attention to the dark underbelly of sex trafficking and holding those responsible accountable. Johanna Sjoberg. Among the countless survivors who have come forward, one name stands out: Johanna Sjoberg. It was during her time in college that Johanna caught the attention of Maxwell, who saw in her the perfect candidate for Epstein's twisted desires. Under the guise of offering her the opportunity of a lifetime, Maxwell approached Johanna with an offer she couldn't refuse. She was promised a job working for Epstein, a chance to be part of his inner circle. Intrigued and unaware of the horrors that awaited her, Johanna accepted the offer. She believed that this was her chance to gain valuable experience and make connections in the world of high society. Little did she know that she was stepping into a nightmare. As Johanna began her work for Epstein, she quickly realized that things were not as they seemed. She was introduced to Emmy Taylor, who would become her mentor in the art of giving massages. But these were not ordinary massages. They were massages that would lead to much darker and more sinister acts. Under the watchful eye of Maxwell and Taylor, Johanna was trained to please Epstein in ways that went far beyond the boundaries of professional conduct. She was taught how to bring him to orgasm during these so-called massages, a task that left her feeling violated and degraded. But the horrors didn't end there. Johanna also found herself at the center of a disturbing incident involving Prince Andrew. While at Epstein's Manhattan mansion, she was subjected to the unthinkable. Prince Andrew touched her breast with a puppet. It was a moment that would forever haunt Johanna. Johanna's testimony became a crucial piece of evidence in the legal battle against Epstein and Maxwell. Her detailed accounts of the massages, the pressure to please Epstein, and the disturbing incident with Prince Andrew provided a chilling glimpse into the dark world of the wealthy and powerful. As her deposition was made public, Johanna's story reverberated around the world. People were shocked and appalled by the extent of Epstein's depravity and the complicity of those around him. The media picked up on the story, and Johanna's name became synonymous with the fight for justice. But the road to justice was not an easy one. Johanna faced scrutiny, doubt, and even victim blaming. Some questioned her motives, while others tried to discredit her testimony. Yet, Johanna remained steadfast in her pursuit of truth and justice. Her bravery inspired other survivors to come forward, knowing that they were not alone in their experiences. Together, they formed a united front against Epstein and Maxwell, determined to bring them to justice and prevent further harm to others. Do 107. Next.
Yo. First off, I just want to say, man, the ladies, growing up, as you can see, like, these are not like little girls. These are young, mature women that are being taken advantage of, trying to find a way, trying to find they lane, they purpose. And you gotta most certainly man, pay attention, because you got people out here lurking just like this who see you naive, you've been through some things, everything ain't been peaches in your life, and they want to change it. They want to tell you they can do all this for you. Yeah. The beginning is always good. It's just like, anything a person want to get you addicted to. Crack, back in the day when the crack guys used to sell crack on the block, when they get that fresh back in, they would break up little 5, little 10s, and they would just give it away. You know what I'm saying? First come, they just give it away. Why you think they giving away drugs? What was the mind thought on that? They trying to lock you in. Once they get you addicted, once they get you hooked on whatever it is, the lifestyle, the fame, the money, all of that, locked in, man.
We will delve into the dark secrets surrounding one of his alleged victims, known as Doe 107. But before we unveil her story, let's recap the background and context of this infamous case. Jeffrey Epstein, a wealthy financier and convicted sex offender, rose to prominence in the early 2000s. He was known for his connections to powerful individuals in politics, business, and entertainment. But behind his lavish lifestyle and influential circle, Epstein harbored a sinister secret. In 2008, Epstein faced federal charges of sex trafficking and conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking of minors. Shocking revelations emerged during the trial, exposing a vast network of underage girls who were exploitation. Epstein's crimes spanned across his luxurious homes in Manhattan, Palm Beach, and his private island in the Caribbean. It was on this island, known as Little St. James, that he allegedly carried out his most heinous acts. Epstein's connections to high-profile individuals, including politicians, businessmen, and even members of the British royal family, added another layer of intrigue to the case.
Man was connected,
the extent of his network and the potential involvement of these individuals sent shockwaves through society. In 2019, Epstein was arrested again on federal sex trafficking charges. However, just a month after his arrest, he was found dead in his Manhattan jail cell, officially ruled as suicide. His death left many unanswered questions and denied his victims the opportunity for justice. Amidst the chaos and media frenzy surrounding the Epstein case, one alleged victim emerged, known only as Doe 107. On a fateful day, Doe 107's attorney filed a request in front of Manhattan federal judge Loretta Preska, urging the court to keep her identity secret. Doe 107's attorney argued that she lived outside the United States in a culturally conservative country and feared the consequences of her name being released. The attorney emphasized that Doe 107 faced real risks of physical harm, adding another layer of urgency to the request. Judge Loretta Preska, presiding over the case, recognized the gravity of the situation and asked Doe 107 to provide an affidavit supporting her claims of danger and the receipt of hate mail. However, Doe 107 failed to meet the deadline, leaving her case in a precarious position. As news of Doe 107's plea spread, speculation ran rampant on social media. People began to wonder who she could possibly be and what her connection to Epstein might entail. Some even claimed that the full Epstein list would not be released until January 22nd, heightening the anticipation surrounding Doe 107's identity. After Doe 107 failed to provide the requested affidavit by the deadline, her case took a complicated turn. It is said that she later switched attorneys, further adding to the mystery surrounding her identity and intentions. Meanwhile, on social media platforms, speculation about Doe 107's true identity ran wild. People shared theories and rumors and even claimed to have insider information. The public's curiosity and desire to uncover the truth reached a fever pitch. Carolyn Andriano. For Carolyn Andriano, the abuse began in 2001 when she was just 14 years old. Epstein's Palm Beach mansion became a house of horrors where Carolyn's innocence was shattered and her life forever altered. The abuse continued for 4 long years as Carolyn endured the unimaginable. She was trapped in a cycle of manipulation and fear, unable to escape Epstein's clutches. But Carolyn's story didn't end there. Years later, she found the strength to come forward and testify against Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, in a trial that captivated the world. Carolyn's testimony painted a vivid picture of the horrors she endured at the hands of Epstein. She spoke.
One of the sickest parts of all of this is that he has another woman helping him do this to these girls. Like, that's sick, bro. That's sick. You know what I'm saying? A woman, he got another woman helping him manipulate these young girls into doing all of this. And once you locked in, like I told you, man, they too powerful. Hell yeah, they gonna scare the shit out you. They gonna tell you things that they can do that you ain't never heard of. And they can make it happen. The man had his own private island. There ain't too many people buying islands. That's why they private. If everybody could afford an island, they'd be local than
Spoke of her addiction to pain, pills, and cocaine, substances she turned to in an attempt to block out the trauma inflicted upon her. Despite her courage and resilience, Carolyn Andriano's journey took a tragic turn. On May 23rd, she was found dead in a hotel room in West Palm Beach, Florida. The cause of her death was determined to be an accidental overdose of methadone, fentanyl, and alprazolam. Carolyn's passing marked yet another devastating loss among Epstein's victims. Lee Sky Patrick,
Get you up
another
outta there.
survivor, had also succumbed to a fatal overdose in 2017. The
Get you up
toll of
outta there.
Epstein's abuse extended far beyond the physical and psychological trauma inflicted upon his victims. It claimed lives, leaving families shattered and communities in mourning. Carolyn's death left behind a trail of heartbreak and unanswered questions. She was a wife, a mother of 5 children, and a daughter. Her loved ones were left to grapple with the pain of losing her and the aftermath of her tragic demise. Legal battles ensued over Carolyn's estate, further adding to the heartache and turmoil. Her will, signed in 2010, named her mother and 2 oldest children as beneficiaries. However, her marriage to John Pitts Jr. and the birth of 3 more children complicated matters. The resolution of these legal disputes remains ongoing. Carolyn's passing serves as a stark reminder of the lasting impact of Epstein's abuse. It is a testament to the profound trauma inflicted upon his victims and the struggles they face long after the abuse has ended. Lee Sky Patrick.
My God.
Lee Sky Patrick was one of Epstein's victims, a young girl whose life would be forever changed by her encounters with Epstein. Lee Sky Patrick, like many others, was drawn into Epstein's world through a mutual acquaintance. At first, she was flattered by his promises of a glamorous lifestyle. Little did she know that she was stepping into a nightmare that would haunt her for years to come. Epstein, a master manipulator, knew exactly how to prey on vulnerable young girls like Lee Sky Patrick. He used his wealth, power, and connections to lure them into his web of deceit. Once under his control, he would subject them to unspeakable acts of sexual abuse. Lee Sky Patrick's initial encounters with Epstein were filled with promises of a better life. She was introduced to a world of luxury, rubbing shoulders with the rich and famous. But behind the scenes, a sinister reality awaited her. Epstein's opulent properties became the backdrop for Lee Sky Patrick's nightmare. She was forced to engage in sexual acts against her will, often in the presence of other powerful individuals who were also part of Epstein's sick circle. The psychological trauma inflicted upon her was immense, and it would have lasting effects on her life. The manipulation and control Epstein exerted over Lee Sky Patrick were relentless. He made her believe that she had no way out, and that no one would believe her if she spoke up. Fear and intimidation kept her silent for years, trapped in a cycle of...
Yo, that's what they gonna do. That's what these powerful men gonna do. You don't get an army and don't use it when it's time to go to war. I ain't gonna have all of this money and power and prestige, and then I'm gonna sit here and let you you finna get down how I tell you to get down. You gonna obey, and that's a lot. It's sad, man. It's unfortunate, and it's a lot of young ladies. Unfortunately, some men out here too that's dealing with that.
Of abuse. It wasn't until years later, when the truth about Epstein's crimes began to emerge, that Lee Sky Patrick found the courage to break her silence. She knew that she had to speak out, not just for herself, but for all the other victims who suffered at the hands of this predator. Lee Sky Patrick's bravery in coming forward was met with skepticism and doubt from some, but she stood firm in her truth, determined to expose the dark secrets of Epstein's world. The abuse Lee Sky Patrick suffered at the hands of Epstein left her scarred both physically and emotionally. The psychological trauma inflicted upon her was unimaginable. She lived in constant fear, haunted by the memories of the abuse she endured. Lee Sky Patrick's life became a constant battle to suppress the pain and anguish she carried within her. The manipulation and control Epstein exerted over her had shattered her sense of self-worth and left her feeling trapped and powerless. Seeking solace and healing, Lee Sky Patrick turned to therapy. She embarked on a long and arduous journey to reclaim her life, to rebuild the shattered pieces of her identity. But the scars of her past were deep, and the road to recovery was filled with obstacles. Despite her best efforts, Lee Sky Patrick struggled to escape the clutches of Epstein's abuse. The trauma she endured had a profound impact on her relationships, her mental health, and her overall well-being. Tragically, the weight of her experiences became too much for Lee Sky Patrick to bear. She found herself caught in a downward spiral, battling addiction and emotional turmoil. The pain she carried within her was unbearable. On that fateful day, Lee Sky Patrick's battle came to a devastating end. She succumbed to a heroin overdose, leaving behind a shattered family and a world robbed of her potential.
Another
Lee
overdose.
Skye, Patrick's twin sister, devastated by the loss, firmly believes that her sister's tragic demise can be directly attributed to the abuse she suffered at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. The pain and suffering Lee Skye Patrick endured throughout her life ultimately led to this heartbreaking outcome. Rachel Benavidze. Rachel Benavidze's story is one of resilience and courage, a journey that began with the painful memories of childhood sexual abuse. As a young child, Rachel experienced events that no child should ever have to endure. However, like many victims, she struggled to find the tools and support to cope with the trauma as she grew older. It was only when Rachel decided to write a book sharing her true story that she found the strength to confront her past and break the cycle of shame and silence. The decision to come forward was not an easy one, as she feared judgment and the reopening of old wounds. But Rachel knew that her story had the power to protect other children from experiencing the same horrors she had endured. With the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein, Rachel realized the weight of her responsibility to speak out and share her experiences. Her book became an accumulation of personal journeys, shedding light on the abuse she suffered as a child and the unfortunate events that unfolded at Zorro Ranch. Through her writing, Rachel aims to heal herself and create a path towards self-love and awareness. Rachel Benavidze's journey of healing and empowerment has not been without its share of haunting experiences. Her nightmares have become vivid and intrusive, seeping into her everyday life and leaving a lasting impact. In these dream sequences, Rachel finds herself transported to a serene garden, adorned with French doors, fountains, and a mesmerizing arrangement of wind chimes. Each chime creates haunting notes, carried by the whispers of the wind or the screams of her past. It is in this ethereal setting that Rachel's journey takes a surreal turn. One fateful morning, just before dawn, Rachel is awakened by the sound of her name being called, followed by a perfect melody from a massive chime. The ghostly vibrations fill the air, evoking a sense of both eeriness and beauty. Rachel wonders if the spirit world is reaching out to her, acknowledging her pain and resilience. But as the dream continues, a darker presence emerges, rattling Rachel's bones and casting a shadow of deception. In glittery nights where gold seems to lie, this dark force lures her into its grasp, leaving her feeling vulnerable and unsettled. Sarah Ransom. Sarah's introduction to Epstein's dark empire began with an invitation to his lavish mansion. At first, she was captivated by the opulence and the influential people she encountered, but soon, the true nature of Epstein's intentions became clear. He was not just a wealthy financier, he was a master manipulator, preying on vulnerable young women and girls. As Sarah delved deeper into Epstein's web, she found herself trapped in a world of unimaginable horrors. She became a victim of his insatiable appetite for power and control. The abuse she endured was beyond comprehension. She was raped, degraded, and coerced into unspeakable acts. Epstein's mansion became a prison, and Sarah's body became a commodity to be bought and sold. The psychological manipulation was just as devastating as the physical abuse. Epstein used fear and intimidation to maintain his control over Sarah and the other victims. He made them believe that they were worthless, that no one would believe their stories, and that they had no way out. Sarah's spirit was crushed as she felt trapped and helpless in the clutches of this monster. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months of unimaginable suffering. Epstein's abuse knew no boundaries. Sarah was forced to endure the most degrading and humiliating acts, all while Epstein reveled in his power over her. The pain and trauma she experienced were indescribable, leaving scars that would last a lifetime. But Sarah's story is not just one of victimhood, it is a story of resilience and strength. Despite the trauma she endured, Sarah found the courage to fight back. She refused to let Epstein's darkness consume her. With every ounce of strength she had left, she began to plan her escape. One fateful day, Sarah seized an opportunity to break free from Epstein's clutches. She managed to escape the mansion and find her way to safety. It was a moment of triumph, but the scars of her ordeal would never truly fade away. Sarah's escape marked the beginning of her journey towards justice and healing. In the next section, we will explore the legal battles she faced and the emotional turmoil she endured as she fought to bring Epstein and his accomplices to justice. Stay tuned for the shocking continuation of Sarah Ransom's story.
Oh. Y'all can see, man was brutal. But just y'all can see, the man was brutal. Anyway, I hope y'all like that. This your boy Shy Baby. Please like, share, and most certainly subscribe. And like I always tell y'all, I love y'all because y'all love me. Until the next one, peace.